This is Rich, and this is the sixth installment of the series of how to go ahead and pass your Claude Certified Foundations Architect. I covered a lot of the initial questions up front. If you did not watch the previous 5 videos, I highly recommend that you do so because once you pass, a lot of times people they don't know how they're going to be able to make money with this. So I talked about what is the Claude, what is the Claude Partner Network? There's $100 million being piped into there. You probably want to spend some time if you want a piece of that pie, right? Watch it from the very first video. But let's now go ahead and talk about. We covered all that stuff up front because if you don't have a solid game plan and a foundation in the beginning, you're just going to end up being very frustrated, which is something I actually don't want you to see. The gap between the people that know these skills and the gap of the people that don't know these skills is getting wider and wider and wider, and so is the income disparity. So let's go ahead and talk about it. Today's video, we're going to talk about how to create a game plan to pass the Claude Certified Foundations Architect. This is also a game plan that you can start using because we're seeing new tools every 2 weeks right now. You have to have some kind of process in order to digest this information because by this Thursday, by Thursday, this time next week, shit, there could be something else. And it's about the people that are constantly be able to go and stay on top of the market. That's going to be the biggest difference makers and also the biggest income earners. So let's talk about what some of the biggest challenges and what are some of the solutions. And let's talk about what people are normally doing right now. I'm going to be going over a YouTube video. I'm also going to be going over Reddit. I'm going to be going over LinkedIn. I'm going to be going over some vibe coded study apps that I've also found. And more importantly, I'm going to be covering at the very end how to establish very clear motivation. This right here, don't look down on it. Everybody looks for the freaking like perfect game plan as if they think not having a game plan is the reason why they're failing. Is there anything wrong with most of the workout programs or diet programs out there right now? Absolutely not. You're going to need to have something that's going to keep you in check, which is why we've already kind of done that for you right now, which is head over to WAP. And in WAP, this is our online community. We have all the resources from here. I'm giving you a reason to now do something. And then on top of that, if you can't find the link in the description, you just got to click on the YouTube description here on my YouTube channel, and you just click over here, WAP community. This is the link, wap.com/awakenai product management community dash dash. Let's go ahead and get it. So for starters, let's go ahead and talk about what most people are doing. They go on YouTube and they search for Claude Foundations Architect, right? Claude Certified Foundations Architect. They go on Reddit, they go on LinkedIn, and they source out from the internet. I don't think there's anything on Amazon on the topic as of right now. But let me tell you what the biggest challenges are. And starting off with requirements, if you did not see that video, this is why it's important for you to see the previous videos, is we have 5 categories that you'll be tested on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 60 questions across 5 core competencies. You get 120 minutes, which means 2 hours, and then you also have 60 multiple choice questions. So if we're to go ahead and break it down, you got 1 hour to do 30 questions. So in every 30 minutes, you'll be doing what, 15 questions, which means like you're averaging, and they're all multiple choice questions. So what can we go ahead and do? What should we go ahead and do? Well, let's go ahead and start talking first and foremost. What are your challenges? What Claude right now is recommending is that you complete these 4 learning modules: Intro to Agent Skills, Building with Claude API, Introduction to Model Context Protocol, and then also Claude Code in Action. Most people aren't going to make it through all 4 on their own, which is why come into WAP, okay? Like, they're not going to make it on their own. Having said that, if I was to go out there and pop open each and every one of these learning modules, you'll basically go ahead and see that I can go through all of this. And then when you view the certificate, it'll show that Richard Chen has completed said certificate. There's only a problem with this approach, is that these are 4 individual modules that were created without preparing for the exam in mind. This makes this dangerous because there's a huge disconnect. People can know these skills, and what they're doing is, okay, I know this, but they don't know how it looks like on the exam. So what you should go ahead and do is the following: is look up where is it on, like how does it actually look like on the exam. This is why the better thing to go ahead and do is to actually hit, these are the hacks that I actually have for you, right? Is to actually hit Reddit. So I grab this guy right here, and on top of that, you basically have these resources. I've grabbed them all down for y'all already, and this is also this is actually one of the apps that I saw that I thought was really good. So you have this one, and then you also have this one right here, this Netify one, which I also thought was really good. You can go ahead and actually do these two. What I'm going to go ahead and do, and I'm going to play with these guys as well, but what I'm going to go ahead and do is this. So the Claude, I'm just going to have CCAF, CCAF study plan. I'm going to create a little prompt. So it's going to start off with this. What I'm going to do first is I'm going to go and create a prompt, and I'm going to set up my own Google Gem that's going to operate as my own CCFA tutor. And this is actually pretty hot because when you're interviewing for a company, they're going to get a chance to go out there and actually see what your thought process is. Everybody wants to flex that, like, oh yeah, I got the certification, now where's my money? It's like, you got the certification, but you know what they really wanted to see was, how did you get the certification from the very beginning, just like what I'm doing right now. Nobody wants to show this part because they feel like, does anybody want to see it? Is anybody going to be okay with it? Trust me when I say I've been a recruiter before. This is actually the hottest thing, is the 0 to 1 process. Is you have to show 0, which means bare bones nothing, to getting into 1, 5, 10, and then beyond, right? So let's go ahead and prompt. I'm using GenSpark to go ahead and actually prompt this. So for starters, let's go ahead and hit it. I want you to help me create a prompt to create a Google Gem, and this is actually what I want. I'm trying to pass the CCAF, otherwise known as the Claude Certified Architect Foundations Certificate. I don't have any technical experience at all, and I'm finding this entire experience to be extremely overwhelming. For starters, there are 4 modules for me to go ahead and pass before I can even register for the exam. I have no idea what any of those 4 modules are asking for, and I'm going to need you to help guide me through each and every one. This is actually, let's start utilizing some thinking. There is an order that Anthropic has set up the learning modules. And I'm going to take that, I'm going to go back over here, and I'm going to go here. And I'm going to take a look at all those different questions that we actually have. Yeah. For somebody that is a pretty amateur Claude user, do you recommend I follow this order? How should I approach each and every one of the following learning modules? And I need this gem to help me get unstuck when I get stuck. So I'm going to add all that in here. The other thing that I'm going to go ahead and do is going to be this. I need you to help me create an actual game plan to win on my first attempt, because I don't want to spend more than $99. Another challenge that I have is that with all of the different lesson plans that there are, at the very end of each lesson plan, there isn't any clear indication or clues as to how they relate to the exam, or how these questions would appear on the exam, along with what multiple choice questions, what multiple choice responses would exist to essentially try to trick me from choosing the right answer. How do I close up the distance between the theory that I'm learning versus actually helping me for the exam? I have seen practice exams on Reddit, and I've seen a few reference on YouTube as well as LinkedIn. Should I take a look at what's on the actual exam first and then go back into approaching each and every one of these modules individually? And if so, which modules should I go ahead and tackle first, second, third, and fourth? Considering I don't have any technical background at all as a product manager or as a non-technical tech professional, or somebody that's a professional in the white collar space, what additional learning curriculum would you suggest to help me prepare for this? Because I don't know what the end outcomes are and what is the desired outcome. I can go through the materials. They have slides with voice overlap as the narration, but I don't know how this is going to appear on the actual exam, and it's kind of bugging me out. See how cool voice prompting is? Okay. I need a gem that's going to help me pass the exam and give me a very clear timeline as well as a schedule that I can work around, and an overall game plan to go out there and actually win. My career is waiting for me to pass this exam, essentially. I need a Gemini Gem, GEM name, description, as well as the instructions. And also let me know any other additional documentation that I should add into the gem. One more thing that I left out. Should I do this on a Gemini gem or on a Claude project or both? Because essentially I need a CCFA tutor. Now I'm going to take all of this right here, all this information. I'm going to go to Gemini, okay? I'm going to pop all this in, and I'm just going to go ahead and prompt it. What I'm doing here right now, and what you should also be doing when you are going to create content, is actually showing this entire process is what companies really want to see. Your thought process as a product manager. How do you think about problems? How do you approach problems? How do you go out there and solve it? All the available resources that you need, all the necessary resources that you need are here. So like, yeah. So it is completely normal to feel overwhelmed. You are not a technical product manager tackling an architecture level exam that covers some of the newest, most cutting edge AI engineering concepts like MCP and agentic loops. The anxiety you're feeling is valid, especially when your career is riding on it and you want to pass in the very first try. Take a deep breath. You can absolutely pass this as a PM, but you need a strategy that bridges the gap between writing code, which you don't do, and understanding system architecture, which you excel at. The platform strategy, Gemini, Gem versus Claude project, use both, but use them differently. Your main tutor is Claude project because you're studying for an Anthropic ecosystem. Building a Claude project is highly beneficial. You can upload the official exam guide, PDF. Okay, code snippets and your course notes. Claude inherently understands the nuances of its own API errors, stop reusing tokens, and structures perfectly. Your stuck and unstuck strategy coach, Gemini Gem, use Gemini to build a dedicated gem that acts as your high-level translator and study coach. Gemini is exceptional at taking dense technical jargon and translating it into product management analogies. Okay, so first things first is the Gemini Gem. Gem is seasoned non-technical strategy coach. Okay, and then you have this, translates that, custom instructions, acknowledges, so the officials got it. So I'm going to add that in there. And then you basically have the CCAF game plan optimized. Do not follow the default order blindly as an amateur, non-technical. I'm going to have all this for y'all inside of WAP. So just go ahead and get into WAP. I'm not like, it's free. Like I'm not gatekeeping anything, right? So building with the Claude API has 85 less like well order throw you like into a wall of code to build your confidence and align with how product managers brain naturally processes systems. Tackle the modules in this exact order. The first, introduction to agent skills, 6 lessons. Why? It's short, it's conceptual, sets the stage for what agents can do, establishes the high. And then PM approach, focus on business logic. Second one, Claude code in action. Third one is the MCP. And then the fourth one right here is with the Claude API, 85 lessons. Okay, and you want to go ahead and actually do this. Study schedule, 4-week timeline. To keep your $99 budget, aim for 5 to 7 hours a week for 4 weeks. That's very doable, right? And then you have this. Close up the gap between theory and exam. The material has slides and voiceovers, but the exam has scenario-based multiple choice questions. Here's how you close the distance. Shift your mindset from developer to architect. Okay. Look for the test first. Look at the test first, yes, but with practice questions. Do not try to memorize leaked questions from Reddit. They can be inaccurate or misleading. Instead, look at the sample exercises from the official exam guide right now. This will show you exactly how the questions are structured so you can read them. Supplement your curriculum. Give me a second there. Since you're a non-technical tech professional, these are the free resources and the Anthropic cookbook, GitHub. Don't look at it to code. Look at the diagrams and the conceptuals. Wow, whenever a lesson finishes and you feel like you just looked at a wall of code, got it. So I just finished, perfect. Now I'm also gonna go ahead and add in a little something. So I'm gonna take all this, and what I'm gonna go and do right now is I'm gonna set up my Gemini gem. So what I'm gonna do is, and Claude project. So which Claude project name, instruction, and goals like should I go ahead and use to set up the Claude project? And on top of that, should I have you create a prompt that's gonna help me produce that inside of Claude, or can you produce it? What do you think is gonna give me more accurate results? So Claude project setup to act as an interactive. Okay, and I'm gonna have this. So this is actually the first thing that we need to go ahead and actually do, because now you can go ahead and actually reference. So I'm gonna go back over here and I'm gonna take all of this and let's come back over here. So this was actually my original prompt. To create a CC FA Google Gem and Claude project to operate as my tutor, right? And then I'm gonna have this right here. And then now I'm gonna have the results. So I'm gonna space this down, I'm gonna add this. So this is actually week 1, week 2, so I have basically everything that I need right here. And I'm gonna take this, and this is just for my own notes, but I'm just gonna have the prompt results. Okay, and something else that I'm gonna go ahead and add is, well, obviously, we're gonna have the Google Gemini set up right here. And then we are going to have, I'm gonna go back over to Claude right here. Claude project setup. So now let's go ahead and actually create all this. So I'm gonna take all this right here. I'm gonna add this one back in. No, not perfecto. Right, and I'm going to have architecture tutor. So this is actually the first step, and I'm gonna go ahead and go 0 to 1 on this. So now I'm gonna go back over to Gemini, and how I'm gonna go ahead and create a gem is, give me a second. What I'm gonna do here is on the side, you will see this little gem icon right here. So you're gonna take this and you're gonna hit gems, and then you can go ahead and see some of the gems that I basically have, like my ATS, my career gem, Go High Level. I'm learning Go High Level right now. Cybersecurity, product manager, infiltrator. So I'm gonna go ahead and go to new gem, and then I'm gonna go and add all of that information in. So I'm gonna go back over to. Oh, actually, this is why. Duh. I'm gonna go back over here. Hang on. This is why you want to open the gem up in a different window, because you still need it to copy and paste the information. But what I'm going to do here now is the gem name is right here. So where I'm going to go back, where it says gem name, I'm going to add this CCAF non-tech strategy coach. And then I'm going to take this description, I'm going to copy it underneath description, and then underneath instructions, I'm just going to copy this whole thing, and I'm going to add instructions right here. And then when I go back down, it says like I should also upload the official CCFA exam guide available to download. So any specific slide, text, or documentation pages, you want to copy and paste the modules as you go. Perfect. So I am going to go over back to my main page here. And as you can go ahead and see, the exam guide, this is actually what I'm going to go ahead and do. I'm going to download the exam guide right here. I'm going to download it right here. And then underneath here where we have the plus sign, I'm going to go ahead and underneath knowledge base, I'm going to go ahead and add files, which I already did, and I added in the PDF directly from my computer, right? And then now I can go ahead and save this. And I can go ahead and start the chat. And it's going to be able to answer pretty much all the questions that I need. This is kind of like one of the hacks that we have in the program. The next thing that I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to go back over to this guy here, and I'm also going to do the same thing now with Claude. So with Claude, we have the architecture tutor. I'm going to do this now. So now that I'm in the Claude project, I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing. I'm going to go ahead and actually create the name, and then what are you trying to achieve? I'm going to go back over here, and I'm going to take this, and it says to act as an interactive, and I'm going to go ahead and add this, and I'm going to create the project. Project now is created, and then now I'm going to have the instructions. I'm going to take the add here, and I'm going to take this, and I'm going to copy the code here, and I'm going to add it down, and now I basically have all of this instruction that's added in here of what it is that I want. I'm going to save the instructions, and again underneath files, I'm going to be adding the same document from the exam guide over here. So now that you have this, whenever it is that you have a problem or you're stuck, you can just take the screenshots and just reference it back. Over here, you can pop it in, and then let's go ahead and actually now start with the next part of our game plan. Keep watching. The learning how to learn AI, this is a skill that you need to go ahead and learn because there's only more new skills coming out, and a lot of the AI experts that we talk to and a lot of the AI instructors that we have, this is what they do. They first create like a, because if they run into a problem, they will pop it in here and they will keep everything onto essentially these projects where it's hyper focused in this one particular subject. Okay, keep watching because now we're actually going to be talking about setting up the actual game plan of what it is that we're going to do first. We have some of the information here of how it is that we should tackle this. Well, now let's start off by tackling agent skills, Claude code, inaction, MCP, and then saving API for last.